Hi, coloring friends! Welcome back to my channel and welcome to the second episode of Coloring Outside the Book. Now, this is a series that I started to give ideas for ways we can use our coloring hobby, not necessarily pulling out a coloring book and coloring it, although that is plenty fun and there's absolutely nothing wrong with just doing that. But this is just some different ideas to get you out of the book and sharing your love of coloring with other people too. So today, what we're going to be working on is making and coloring our own Christmas cards. Now, I know that that is not an extremely unique idea or a brand new idea. I know that that idea has been around for a long time, and these videos aren't necessarily meant to be groundbreaking new things, just putting ideas in your head as to, oh, that's right, I could do that, and maybe coloring a Christmas card for a loved one yourself. So I have here the supplies that I'm going to be using today. I have a pack of just plain greeting cards and envelopes. You can get these at most craft stores. I have a stamp that I decided to use, and this is the image that I will be coloring. I have an ink pad for my stamp. I have some extra things I'm going to use to add a little bit of embellishment at the end of my coloring. And then I have these colors that I'm going to use today. These are the original Starjoy set, and I chose some Gingerbread House colors and candy cane colors, and then some different colors for the gumdrops here too. So I'm going to go ahead and get this all cleared away, and we will get started. All right, now I have trimmed the card down to better fit the image that I'm working with. I just thought it would look better that way. And I am going to go ahead and get my stamp all inked up here. And this is an old stamp. It says from 2000 right on it, from Stampin' Up, if anybody remembers that company. I don't know if they're still around or not, but I know my mom got a lot of different Stampin' Up things when I was younger, and I got into it a little bit, but I wasn't quite a big collector of it. This is basically the only one I had. So I've had it for years. And at one time, I think I did use this to make some Christmas cards for people. All right, so I've got it all inked up, and now we are going to hold our breaths because it's always a little nerve-wracking. And it would be nice if this worked out for the first try and came out clearly here. So we're going to give it a good smush all over. Try not to bump it. And we'll lift it straight up. And the middle didn't turn out. All right. So we are going to do a take two here. All right, so take two was a success. I saved you the trouble of watching me struggle with that and put all my body weight on it to get that to turn out nicely. So now I'm going to need to actually give this ink a few minutes to dry before I start coloring, but I did want to talk about that in the idea of coloring Christmas cards, you are really only limited to your imagination because you don't have to use a stamp. You could find a Christmas coloring page PDF that you really like and maybe resize it or crop it to fit a Christmas card and color it and give it to a friend. You could, if you're talented and lucky enough to be able to do so, draw your own picture. I certainly am not, but if you have that talent, that would be wonderful to do. You could paint your own image. You could use a stencil and shade it and color it in. It's really just the idea of using the hobby and, you know, having some relaxing time and doing something you love and then being able to share it with a friend. That was kind of my idea behind the series is sometimes it's a shame to have all these beautiful pages you've colored and they end up sitting in a coloring book and they aren't getting shared with anyone. All right, so I think my ink is dry, so we will get going with the coloring here. I think I'm going to get started with some of these candy cane shapes here. So we'll start with those first. And I thought I would just go all traditional with this image. Just traditional Christmas, although I did work in some other colors because I will admit that at this point in the month, the Christmas colors are getting a little old. So I worked in some rainbow colors with the gumdrops, which will be fun to do. All right. And I was thinking on the same note of your imagination being your only limit here, that you could even, if you had, depending on the coloring page, take an image right out of your coloring book, just tear it right out and use it as a card. I was thinking that mandalas would be perfect for that, especially some of the mandala books. I think it's Color It has them that are on really nice cardstock. So you could take one of those, maybe trim down the page a little bit, and fold it right in half. So yeah, only really limited by your own imagination on how you would want to color a Christmas card. All right. There we go. So I've been kind of debating on these dots along the front of the house, and I think I've landed on that they are going to be red hots, and I'm going to color them red because just for the sake of a cohesive palette on this one, I'm already going to have a bunch of varying color with the gumdrops, so try to keep it simple with everything else. Just browns and reds, really. So, yeah, and the nice thing about this is in the craziness of the season and all that it can bring, all the stress it can bring, this is a nice way to sit down and slow yourself down and relax. Enjoy something you like to do, but still be preparing for the season. And actually, it extends beyond just Christmas cards. I know one year I printed out just it was a freebie that was featured somewhere, and it was images on gift tag shapes, and I printed that out and I colored my family's gift cards that year, gift tags for their presents. And I remember that being a lot of fun to just wind down, and then it's just an extra special touch when it's something that you've made yourself and taken time on. I think people appreciate that, and they realize that you put a little extra time and thought into something for them. All right, I think I'm going to try to move you a little closer here. So hold on a minute just so you can get a better view. All right, that's better. I'm hoping you don't end up hearing a bunch of dog barks because it actually happens to be quite nice out today, and my daughter is taking advantage and playing with some neighborhood kids to the outrage of my dogs. And in fact, they're playing right under the window of the room I'm in, so you may actually hear kids too. But I don't think the sound of happy kids playing is ever a bad thing, so I'm gonna roll with it, and then I'm just gonna cross my fingers that the dogs don't start up. I have the access to a window that they could bark out of blocked, so I'm hoping that holds up. But if I end up having to stop it and come back to it, you will know why. It's all in an effort to save your ears. Yes, my dogs are loud. Very loud when they bark. So I hope everyone is having a good time preparing for the holiday season. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, I hope you've had or will be having a good holiday yourself, whatever you do celebrate. It has been very busy here. I work in retail, and it's my first time working in retail since I was in college years ago. So it's been busy. They've been holding over, and I think I look at it as a good thing because I think about, last Christmas and how so much was online because everybody was still worried about leaving their houses and everything. And so it's nice that everyone is back out and shopping and enjoying the Christmas season out with other people. I think there's a lot lost when you don't have that. Yeah, so that has been very busy. And then my kitchen, which we're having redone, is still being redone. So we are, I think, 23 plus days now without a kitchen. We have the stove is hooked up again and the microwave, but no sink, no dishwasher. So, it's been a lot of eating out, much to my disappointment. I had grand visions of making all these crock pot meals and one pot dishes, and between the Christmas hustle and kids' schedules and just the fact that I've realized it's not very fun to wash your dishes in the bathtub like I've been doing. All right, sorry about that. We are back. I have lost my lighting, but we are back, minus the ridiculous dog barking, so that is a good thing. I think I was talking about the kitchen remodel when I had to stop, and yeah, everything is in boxes all over the place right now, and there's no water in the kitchen and no way to wash the dishes. The only sinks we have otherwise in the house are pretty small, so they won't fit like a pot that I cook in. So I've been less eager to do cooking, and when I do, it is not fun to clean up. So a lot of eating out, a lot of easy frozen meals, and we are all craving nice home cooked food again. it will be so nice when we can do that. So they are estimating by the end of the week being complete. I am skeptical because we are kind of far from that right now. There's no countertops in yet still, and just a lot of other things. We had a wall removed, and the beam that they put in to support support the removal of the wall did not pass inspection, which happened yesterday. So they have to get an engineer out here, and they have to do some kind of workaround so that it will be properly supported, which is a good thing. I mean, I don't want to live in a house that's not properly supported, but it's another bit of a setback. So that was kind of disappointing, although I was prepared mentally for that possibility, so it was not a big surprise. But so if they do manage to finish by the end of the week, it will be a wonderful, wonderful Christmas present. My family on my husband's side is hoping that we will be hosting Christmas in our brand new kitchen, and I would love to do so. So I'm really, really hoping that we can get finished in time. But because everything is such a mess and everything is everywhere, I wasn't able to get the Christmas decorations out. So we're missing those. And I haven't been able to make Christmas cookies like I usually do. So I'm hoping if we can get finished soon that I can kind of pull a few things out at least and make a few cookies before Christmas. We'll see. But it's looking good. That is a huge positive. It is looking really, really, really good. So, and we're very excited and happy about it. So I guess you can't ask much more than that. And the frustrations are only temporary, and soon we will be enjoying our kitchen. And my apologies again for my dog, who seems to want to bark today, never-endingly. Yeah, my dogs will respond briefly to a command of no bark, but it only holds them off temporarily, and then they start barking again. So I don't know. I mean, we've certainly worked with training on that, but it just hasn't fully sunk in. And they are 3 and 5 years old now, so I don't know if it's gonna sink in. Yeah. They're very vocal dogs. All right. So let's see. I think I'm going to keep going with red and get these swirly candy canes up here at the top. There she is again. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pause, and I will be back again shortly. All right, we are in Coloring Outside the Book, episode 2, take 3, I believe. Because my dogs just seem to want to bark at everything today. So here we are again. And let's see if we can get this finished this time. So, unfortunately, I have no idea what I was saying before I had to cut last time, so we will just have to start from scratch. And I hope everyone's holiday shopping is going well. I tend to shop as I go. I don't wait until a certain point of the year to Christmas shop. If I think of something or see something that I like as an idea for somebody, I will get it when I think of it. So I have had a stockpile of gifts in the closet, which I usually do every year. Some that I ordered online and some that I got in the stores. And actually, I believe I probably mentioned in my Thanksgiving video of coloring outside the book that my side of the family already celebrated Christmas on Thanksgiving. So I had a good chunk of the gifts that I had purchased and put aside already wrapped and have been distributed at this point. So that took a big chunk out of it. Oh, sorry, I just bumped the camera there. But we still have Christmas with my husband's side of the family coming up, and then of course my family with my kids. So I do have a quite decent stockpile of gifts sitting actually in this room right next to me. And that's always part of the thrill of wrapping presents, is that finally, after months of having so many of these things sitting around in my office, I can finally wrap them and get them out of here. So that is part of the fun part. But the other part is that I've gotten these gifts and I saw them, came across them, and thought of a person and thought they would like it, and it's finally time to get to see them receive those gifts, which is also very fun. So, but it will be nice to not have this big pile, because, you know, when you get to this point of the month, it really starts to pile up. So, all right, so we have 3 of these little pinwheely peppermint things, I'm assuming. That's what I'm making them, at least. So we'll just sip through these. And then I think I'll probably start working on tackling the gingerbread house next. I feel like that's going to be a next step here. And save the rainbowy gumdrops for last. Just put my darker shade in here on the edges. And then add the lighter shade next. There we go. Trying to decide. I think this is probably a segment 2. It's going to be one of the darker ones there. All right. Last little bit there. There we go. I think the sticks for those, I'm just going to leave the color they are because I feel like it's going to be kind of like a lollipop stick where they're white, so we'll just leave them white. Now this idea, I don't know that I would recommend. I think after doing the Thanksgiving cards, place cards on my last video in this series, you know, there's a limit to the quantity and to how fun it's going to be to repeat the same coloring over and over. Although I guess you could print out different pictures on each one. But I know that when I had to do 10 in a row of the place cards, it did get a little monotonous after a while. And I was kind of ready to color something different by the end of it. So this idea isn't necessarily one that you would be able to do, you know, a large quantity of. I wouldn't say if you had a huge list of Christmas cards you wanted to send out that this was the idea for you. I think that this is more the idea if you had maybe a few close friends or family members that you'd like to do something, just send something a little extra special for, that this would be a good idea. Definitely not saying, you know, reproduce a mass quantity of these cards. That wouldn't be so fun, I don't think. Then it would start to feel more like work, I think, and that kind of defeats the purpose, so. Alright, let's see, I have to figure out this middle area again, and what areas are supposed to be red, and which ones should be white. Let's see. I'm thinking then this will be 2 because you have to skip a space, so we'll go with that. That's going to be pretty dark because it's right in the middle. Okay, let me add the lighter shade here. Here we go. Still can't get over the fact that it's actually quiet at my house now. I feel like it was just loud and barking all day today. And I actually had the day off and was hoping to film, and yeah, the dogs decided differently, so. Did have some quality time with them, and they are tired now, so I guess that was what they needed. Okay, I think we are through with the candy cane minty type things in the picture. And I'm going to move on to working on the gingerbread house now. So, I'm going to make this little piece here on the roof darker. And then we'll work on the rest. I know last year I did Johanna Basford put out a free Advent coloring page, and I did that. I actually did it with my mom, and we kind of colored a page each day and then texted each other the picture, our finished picture, so we could see. It was kind of like doing a color along. And I mean, really, I think it was before I even knew about color alongs, so it's funny that we were doing that together without even knowing that was a thing. But it was a lot of fun. It was a way to stay connected when we were further apart. But anyway, my point was, I know that one of those pictures in her advent calendar was of a gingerbread house, and I remember coloring it and really liking how it turned out and how I had done it. And I was thinking, oh, I hope I can pull that off again today, because I cannot remember from a year ago how I did it. So I'm trying to recreate what I remember, and we'll see how it goes. I think really the most important thing is that, you know, anyone who's coloring enjoys what they're doing. I think once you get too hung up on the quality or results, or start trying to make it look like somebody else's, that it becomes way less fun. So you kind of have to, I know I have to reel it back in sometimes and just realize this is what I can do. Okay, so I think with this chimney, I'm going to leave those stripes white, like they're icing. I know there's a part of me that's tempted to make them like a red maybe, but I don't know. I think, what would that be? Maybe licorice? I don't know. So I'm going to leave it white. I'm going to say it's icing, and that'll be that. All right. I'll add some of my lighter shade here. Just blend that in. And there we go. No, I think it looks like I skipped a step there, maybe. It's a little too drastic. Let's see if I can add another shade and kind of mellow that out a bit. It's a little better. There we go. That's a little better. Okay. All right, we're going to move on to the house itself then. And start with our darkest. I have found that I tend to be a dark to light person. I don't know, I think I tried it both ways. Tried going light to dark, and this just for some reason makes more sense to me, so that's what I've stuck with. But I am by no means an expert, and I do think that whether you go dark to light or light to dark is definitely a personal preference. For sure. Just leave a little area here that I can make look a little more golden. There we go. All right, that's not bad. Not bad. Okay. I think I'm gonna tackle inside this area first. I think that's the thing I find most challenging with coloring is with every page you get, there's something different. I mean, at least for me, I haven't been doing it that long, so I mean, with every page I do, there's something new that I haven't colored yet, and it always stumps me at first, intimidates me. Like this. How do I color a gingerbread house? How does that look? You know, how do you color water? How do you color skin? There's just so many things, and not that I'm trying to make anything look super realistic or anything, but it is nice to have, you know, the shading and the coloring. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, there you go. That just sums up my day right there. I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know what these dogs are doing today, but they certainly could care less that I am trying to film a video. Let me tell you. They could. Believe me, I've had conversations with them today. They told me they don't care. So, please forgive the dog barking. Believe me when I say I know how annoying it is. All right, I think I'm going to try to mellow this one out again a little bit too. I'm going a little too heavy-handed with the golden there. A little too golden. There we go. All right, just want to darken up the outsides a little bit more too. Try. All right, I think I'm pretty happy with that. Whoops, I'm going to keep that dark color here. We'll hit down here with it. And then we'll start working on the actual main piece of the house. All right. Put my darkest areas in here. Go. And hit the dark areas up here too. There we go. All right. I don't know why, but I'm kind of going with the idea that the light is coming in from the left. I'm not sure why I made that determination, but that's what I'm going with. We got light coming in from the left, so we'll see. That's another thing that I'm not super strong at yet, is just figuring out where all the shadows should be going and all that. it's so much to learn, which is part of why I love it. I like to keep learning and being challenged a little bit. So I don't think that's a bad thing in any way. Especially when you have a resource like YouTube, where you can just watch somebody else do it and pick up a new trick on how to approach it. I love that. I will often search, like, how do I color gold? Or how do I color a gem? And then just sit and watch how other people approach it. And I'll watch multiple videos on how others approach it, just to, get as much information as I can and then come up with my own style on how I want to approach it. And then even then, I will often evolve too, and the way I do it one time isn't necessarily the way I do it every time, which also helps to keep things interesting. Okay, there we go. All right. I'm gonna go in with my next lightest shade here. Start filling in. And then I kind of think that that's what's fun about coloring gingerbread is it's not like a shiny item where you would have a specific highlight in a specific place where the sun's hitting it. It's a cookie, so it's going to get golden in different places, and you can kind of vary and mix up where your cookie gets golden. So usually in my house with gingerbread, we have a kit every year. Our house elf, brings the kit, and it's usually one of those. I have 3 kids, so it's usually one of those that has the 4 tiny houses in it. And that way each kid can have one to do on their own. And then there's one for mom to do too. So I usually sit and decorate the 4th one with them, which is always fun. Now my son, it's kind of hit or miss whether or not he'll be into actually helping decorate in any given year. He's usually willing to help eat, but not always to sit down and do his house. Although the past few years, I think he has. So that's been nice. He is 13, so we'll see where he lands on that this year. It's always nice when he wants to come out and do an activity like that, because he's never been a big artsy guy, so most of the time when it's a project type thing like that, he is not joining in with the girls. As my other 2 kids are daughters, and they are artsy, so they are always about, especially my youngest, she is an artist at heart. She's very talented. My oldest is too, but my youngest is very, very artsy, so she's always all about doing anything artsy. But yeah, we usually do them. Sometimes my kids will eat some of the gingerbread house, but usually I think I end up setting them out for the birds to eat, which I hope is okay, but I'm assuming it is. Right. I am liking the way this is turning out. I think it looks pretty good. Certainly no expert, but I think it's okay. So I have to say, I really like these Star Joys. I thought at first that I would really love the Prismacolor the most, just because they're easy to blend and smush together a little bit. But really, the more I use these, I don't know, I think I tend to be very heavy-handed with my coloring. And with Prismacolor, I feel like I can really take it too far too fast. And it's kind of like once you do that, you're at the point of no return, and your colors get muddy and squished together weird, and your highlights get lost, and I tend to do that a lot with Prisma and really have to rein myself in. I mean, I have to do that with these too, just because I do still want to go hard and heavy and fast, but they're a much firmer lead, and I like that. I feel like it's way easier for me to manage than the Prismacolor. I'm appreciating these more and more, and I am definitely eyeing up the new golds that came out recently. I think if they're anything like these, they'd be nice to have. I mean, I wouldn't have said it before, but maybe I'm a layerer. I don't know. All right, I think I'm going to leave it at that. And I realized that I forgot to color that red bow over here, so I'm going to get that real quick. Well, it's not a red bow yet, but I'd like it to be a red bow, so we're going to get that real quick. There we go. Ooh, it is a skinny, skinny one. That might have warranted a new sharpening there, but I'm just gonna forge on here. Yep, that's a skinny one there. Okay. Oh, and I went out just a tiny bit. It's okay. I think it'll be fine. All right, so it is officially gumdrop time. So I'm going to start with this one up here, which I think I'd like to make red, just because that's the main other color. I feel like another color might look a little off there, so we're going to start with red. All right, there's gumdrop number one. Maybe fill that in a touch more. There we go. All right. I had the order all figured out earlier, and now I can't remember which color I wanted to do first. I think it was... maybe it was the green. All right. Try to make this edge a little darker. Now that embellishment that I talked about at the beginning of the video that I have set aside over here is going to be for the gumdrops, because they usually have sparkly sugar over them. So the plan is to make these sparkly sugar gumdrops too. So let's see. Oh, I've totally lost track of what I wanted to do color-wise on these, but keep going here. Just wing it now and know that I picked out all these colors for gumdrops, so it probably doesn't really matter what order they go in. All right, there's gumdrop number 2. And I'm hoping that the glitter that I'm going to use and the glue is going to work. I don't have anything like stickles or anything like that. I just have a little container of clear-ish glitter that I have from the craft store. So I'm going to use that. Paint some glue on the paper and shake on my glitter and do it that way. So we'll see. Hopefully it turns out the way I'm envisioning it. I'm picturing it as sparkly sugar. I hope that's how it looks when I put it down. We will see. Okay, we got our yellow gumdrop. I think my next one was going to be a purple. There we go. Let's see, so while I'm working on gumdrops, I guess I'll talk about the channel a little bit. So I've been doing, and hopefully some of you have caught them, a daily short coloring of an advent calendar that I have from the Coloring Heaven magazine from last Christmas or last December. And I've been doing a picture a day and just speeding it up, so it's a really quick short video. And even when I'm coloring it, it doesn't usually take rarely more than 15 minutes to do one. And even then, that's usually when I've added a special background or something to it. I know today's was just a mug of mulled wine, so that one took me maybe 10 minutes, I think, to actually do, to actually color. So that has been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed a daily posting of a Christmas picture, and it's kind of helped me keep in the holiday spirit, especially since my house doesn't have any Christmas decorations out. It's been really nice to do, so I've been enjoying it. I hope other people have too. That would be nice. Add a little Christmas cheer to their day also. All right, I have one more gumdrop, and what color do I want to make it? I think I'm going to go with the orange again. Just add that on the end. I already have so much red. I don't really want to do a duplicate red. Okay, so I've had the daily videos coming out, and I have plans for one more episode of Coloring Outside the Book this month. And I'm very, very excited about it. I think it's going to be a fun one. I'm excited about the idea. I'm excited to try out some of the special things I've gotten for filming. So I hope everyone stays tuned for that one, because I think it's going to be a fun one. All right, that's going to do it for the coloring, and then we're going to start working on the embellishing part of it. Okay, I'm going to speed this part up, I think, because this video is getting quite a bit long. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to brush my glue onto the gumdrops, and I'm going to sprinkle on my glitter, and then I will shake off the excess, and we will be all glittered up here. All right, so here we have our gumdrops all sugared up. I decided to add, there was a message that came with the stamp set, and I decided to add that at the top, just so there's a message on the outside of the card. And there we go. So my Christmas card is complete. I hope everyone enjoyed seeing this come together. I know I had a lot of fun working on it, and I'm happy with it. I'm excited to give it to somebody and share the joy this season. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you stay tuned and come back for the next one. I'm very excited about it. So please don't miss it. Like and subscribe, and I will see you then. Bye.